Mark time. March. Detail. Halt.
Uniform stand! Order! Out!
Forward. Hey. Forward. March. Detail. Halt. 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 Recover.
Uniform stand! Reset! Out! Order! Out!
About. Hurt. Forward. Hurt. Halt. Center. Face. Forward. March. Mark time. March. Detail. Halt. March.
Rear! Face! Forward! March! Please be seated.
Three weeks ago today, none of us could have anticipated that we would gather here today to honor and pay our final respects to our friend, colleague, and fellow servant, Sergeant Mark Baserman. The tragic event that unfolded on February 15th is deeply ingrained in our hearts and our memories. Those of us in the law enforcement community know too well the unpredictability of violent human behavior. That Sergeant Baserman was not able to recover from his injuries has broken our hearts. One of ours and one of yours has fallen. Today, gathered in this center, in overflow rooms and tents, joining us by live streaming, representing every law enforcement agency in this Commonwealth, as well as law enforcement professionals from nearly every state in this country and Canada, we come today as one family which mourns the loss of a brother and a friend. And as one family, we extend to you, Lucille and Paul and Lynn and Jackie, and to all who mourn Mark's loss, and especially our SCI Somerset community, and especially our East Hills EMS family, our deepest and most sincere sympathies. We mourn with and we stand with you in solidarity. This service includes portions and rituals important to the family, as well as traditional elements by which we, the law enforcement community, rightly honor our fallen hero. Be aware that there are some minor changes to the order as noted in the printed program. We will begin with the sergeant's radio check, followed by a moment of silence.
This is a radio check for SCI Somerset. India Unit, Sergeant Burley.
Loud and clear.
Juliet Unit, Sergeant McVicker.
Loud and clear.
Alpha Unit, Sergeant Shelley.
Loud and clear.
Bravo Unit, Sergeant Pavona.
Loud and clear.
Charlie Unit, Sergeant Foster.
Loud and clear.
Delta Unit, Sergeant Pridgeon.
Loud and clear.
Echo Unit, Sergeant Rardon.
Loud and clear.
Foxtrot Unit, Sergeant Baserman.
I would like to invite Reverend Phil Most, head chaplain at SCI Somerset, to lead us in prayer. And following the invocation, retired Sergeant Brian James and Sergeant Larry Blackwell will address us.
February 15, 2018 was a bad day at SCI Somerset and for the Department of Corrections and East Hills EMS. February 26th was an awful day for all of us. We've grieved together, we've joined together. It brings us all here today. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We're a bunch of hurting people. We thank you that you know even better than we do what we need. You love us and care for each one of us. in our sufferings and in our fears. We ask that your grace will comfort us, strengthen us, cover us with your peace in the midst of our hurt. Thank you, Father, for sustaining us for these past weeks. We ask you to continue to sustain us for the next days, weeks, years. We need your grace in a very special way today as we remember and celebrate the life of Mark Baserman, spouse, son, brother, co-worker, fellow corrections and EMS worker. We thank you for that large corrections family that joined together. From all over, we bonded together and grieved together. Just pray that you will help us all as we grieve, especially for Lynn, his mother Lou, brother Paul. Bring us through this process. Give us healing. We need it so bad. It's a tough day for us. Give us the strength we need to get through today, to begin to heal, to walk together. We ask for wisdom and courage for decisions that we need to make. We ask that through this mess, somehow, you will be glorified. We've come to you again and again. We come to you again today, crying out for comfort, for peace and strength. We thank you in advance for what you're going to do. Bless us today. Strengthen and encourage each one. In our needs, you know exactly what each needs. Touch us. For your glory, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Brian James. I'm a member of the Correctional Peace Officers Foundation National Honor Guard. I'm a retired sergeant from the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections, SCI Pittsburgh, Western Penitentiary. I found a poem several years back that I felt was very fitting to read today from Mark and every correctional employee in this great country of ours. This poem is very emotional, so please bear with me. It's called Meeting Thy God. The correctional officer stood and faced his God, which must always come to pass. He hoped his shoes were shining just as brightly as his brass. Step forward now, correctional officer. How shall I deal with you? Have you always turned the other cheek? To my church have you been true? The correctional officer squared his shoulders and said, No, Lord, I guess I ain't. Because those of us who carry badges can't always be a saint. I've had to work most Sundays, and at times my work was rough, and sometimes I've been violent. Because inside the walls are awful tough. But I never took a penny that wasn't mine to keep. I worked a lot of overtime when the bills just got too steep. And I never passed a cry for help, though at times I shook with fear, and sometimes, God forgive me, I wept unmanly tears. I know I don't deserve a place among the people here. They never wanted me around except to calm their fears. If you've a place for me here, Lord, it needn't be so grand. I never expected or had too much, but if you don't, I will understand. There was silence all around the throne where the saints often trod, as the correctional officer waited quietly for the judgment of his God. Step forward now, correctional officer. You've borne your burdens well. Come walk a beat on heaven's streets. You've done your time in hell. Lynn, Mom, Paul, I want to leave you with this. It is not goodbye. It's until we meet again. God bless.
My name is Larry Blackwell. I'm a sergeant in the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections and a vice president for the Pennsylvania State Corrections Officers Association. I would like to thank all of the corrections officers, police officers, and emergency responders who have come from all over to pay the respects to Sergeant Baserman and his wonderful family. Many of you in attendance today understand what it means to be a corrections officer and understand when I say we walk the toughest blocks in the state. Heroes like Mark Baserman and his brothers and sisters at SCI Somerset patrol these blocks with a radio, a whistle, handcuffs, and pepper spray. In speaking to Mark's family, I learned that while a corrections officer, he wore many hats, as he also worked with the EMS. He was a caretaker for his wife and mother, and he served in the Army. I am reminded of Jesus' words, who said, "Whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." Even outside the Christian faith, Jesus is considered the greatest teacher and practitioner of love and ethics in all of history. Mark lived the template that Jesus laid out for greatness: service. Mark's life was a gift of service to others. At work, as a corrections officer, Mark always put other needs before his own, even when it required personal risk. We honor Mark Baserman today as a hero. A hero is someone who faces danger, has integrity, bravery, and strength. That's what law enforcement officers do every day. We take on and perform responsibilities that most people do not want or cannot do. At a moment's notice, we are called into action to protect our coworkers, the community, and keep law and order within inside our walls. Mark left a great legacy behind for the rest of us to follow. Jesus also said, "No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Mark was a true friend to us all. In an act of protecting law-abiding citizens, Mark laid down his life for us. It is the ultimate expression of service and love. He put himself at risk and paid the ultimate price. Mark will be greatly missed by all, and we grieve with his family and co-workers. In closing, I would like to share the Apostle Paul's words to his young protege, Timothy. "For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time has come for my departure. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. Sergeant Mark Baserman, I say to you, well done, good and faithful servant. Thank you for your heroism and service. May you rest in peace."
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Larry. Our next three speakers represent three families to which Sergeant Baserman was linked. Reverend Phil Most has been asked to share on behalf of Mark's family. Superintendent Melissa Hainsworth will share on behalf of the SCI Somerset family. And paramedic Paul Bomboy will share on behalf of Mark's East Hills EMS family.
I've been asked to share the following message on behalf of Mark's family. To all the first responders that could not find the words to express what your support has meant to us. Therefore, we went in search of a poem that could help. What we found was a poem that expressed all that you have done for us. A first responder's code is to comfort the lost, to hold the hand of the dying, to provide the comfort one seeks in a time where the life is out of their hands. To them, I am their angel. To myself, this is just a calling. I will forever be humble, for someday I may be my patient's last comfort. To those who served with Mark as first responders, have been there to hold our hand, we will consider you forever our angel. To our new DOC family, the night of February 15, 2018 will forever change our lives. This was the beginning to the end of Mark's life. However, it was the beginning of our life with our new family. As I sat in the waiting room of Johnstown Hospital, I was told by complete strangers they would be there no matter what. At that point, I did not truly understand what they were talking about. However, after they continued to show up at the hospital day after day, I do now. What they were talking about, that I was now a part of the SCI Somerset family. Over the past few weeks, I've learned that SCI Somerset is one big brotherhood. First, that means they fight like siblings. However, when something happens, they are there to stand by each other. Second is like siblings, they're the only ones that are allowed to fight with them. However, when someone touches their brother or sister, they are there to stand by them. Therefore, to all our new brothers and sisters, I am sorry for your loss. Thank you for your support and all the help you have given us.
First, I would like to start by saying I'm truly honored to be here in front of you today to celebrate the life of Sergeant Mark Baserman. Today, we have come together to honor a true hero who made the ultimate sacrifice in his service to others by enforcing the law inside of the fence. In order to meaningfully convey to you how Mark fit into our family at SCI Somerset, I must first recognize the work and life of a corrections officer. Corrections is a difficult and demanding profession. There are long hours with the constant risk of danger and harm. Their job is not to just confine and provide for those who were found to have broken the law, but to treat and reform them in an effort to prepare for their return to society. A corrections professional cannot fear change, commitment, or danger. Despite the minimal praise at times and few tangible rewards, corrections officers take great pride in their work, making a positive difference every day and remaining committed to keeping our communities safe. Courage, fairness, respect, and being genuine are all required characteristics of a successful corrections officer. It's imperative to treat those incarcerated, their families, visitors, and others with dignity, respect, and consistency, despite the possibility of not receiving the same in return. A corrections officer must be dedicated to his or her job to do it effectively, dedicated to his or her fellow staff members with whom they serve to maintain trust and respect, to his or her family to risk their safety to provide for them, and to the community to keep them safe. As a result of all of the above, the team of corrections professionals assigned the task of upholding the standards and expectations of a correctional facility becomes a family. a family that protects one another, supports one another, and defends one another. This inherent loyalty to each other is not limited to just those we are putting in our time with, but to all of their families outside of the fence also. When there is a tragedy, a need for a helping hand, a cause to be fought, an accomplishment to be celebrated, or a need for a shoulder to cry on, we are there for each other. I have personally witnessed this dedication to our corrections family over the past 3 weeks, as individuals have rallied around us locally, within our own state, and nationally. Sergeant Mark Baserman was the epitome of a successful corrections officer. In preparation for this opportunity to represent the SCI Somerset family today, I asked for those who worked beside Mark to provide me with input regarding what message should be conveyed. When I would do rounds, Mark always made a point to greet me. He was always professional and courteous. He was the type of staff member who could be trusted to complete any assigned task without question and took pride in his work. Sergeant Baserman took his job as a corrections professional seriously, enforcing the rules while remaining fair, consistent, and respectful. He was described as genuinely caring for people and was a sincerely kind person. He was gentle and easy to talk to. Mark would go out of his way to make a new employee feel welcome by befriending them upon their arrival. He would share stories of his time in the military as an EMS worker and of his dogs. Mark would faithfully check in with all of the staff on his unit upon him assuming his post, to include the non-uniformed staff. He would go above and beyond his responsibilities as a corrections officer by supporting his corrections family. He expressed his concern for their professional and personal well-being, reaching out to them and offering an ear to listen or a helping hand. In addition to his dedication to his chosen profession, he took care of his family at home, providing for them in many ways. Mark was a true hero in many aspects and will be dearly missed by not only his family at home, but also by his corrections family. There is no ceremony or words that can ease our pain we all feel today. However, we must continue to honor Sergeant Mark Baserman, his courage, strength, and kindness he exuded each day. Mark embraced his profession as a corrections officer. His ultimate sacrifice was for a far greater purpose than himself. We must honor Mark by continuing our mission and maintaining our dedication to the profession and conducting ourselves in a respectful manner, caring for and supporting one another, just as he did. Being mindful of our families and friends and appreciate all of their support, expressing our gratitude to them for all that they do. I ask that each of us do this to honor Mark, who will always be with us in our hearts. Rest easy, Sarge. We have the watch from here.
Morning. My name is Paul Bomboy, and I met Mark when I joined my family at East Hills Ambulance some years ago. We worked together many nights, and we grew to be good friends. I was with Mark when he left his life on this earth. A few days ago, I attended his funeral. Today, we're here to celebrate his life and his service to other people. Before Mark joined his correctional family, he was an EMS professional. That means he provided comfort and care to family, friends, and strangers as if they were his own family. Mark dedicated his life to serving other people. He served his country as a member of the United States Army. He cared for the sick and injured people as an EMT. He protected Commonwealth from the worst of society as a correctional officer. He loved and cared for his aging mother. He loved and cared for his spouse who has an autoimmune disease. And he loved and cared for his children, or more importantly, as they were, his dogs. Mark often said he loved animals more than people. Today, as I stand here with the events that just happened, I think I understand why. One shift, Mark told me that if the situation ever presented itself and I was in the road and there was a dog in the road and he had to make the decision which one was going to get hit, it was nice knowing you, buddy. Mark was my partner for many years, and he referred to himself as the grumpy old man. And Mark presented himself with a gruff exterior. After working with him, I learned that under that exterior was a very compassionate and caring man. Each day when Mark would leave for work at SCI, his spouse Lynn would tell him she would see him when he returned home. Mark replies, "God willing." On the day he was assaulted, Mark did not say those words. That night, I learned of the assault prior to leaving for my EMS work. I prayed for Mark and his family, and the next morning I spoke with a coworker at EMS who also works for the DOC. We were talking about the brutal assault, but he wasn't aware that it was his friend Mark. As my shift ended, I went to the ICU to see my friend, and one of my worst nightmares began. First, I want to thank everyone from SCI Somerset who tried to save my friend. Thank you dearly. Somerset Ambulance, who provided excellent care for him, Somerset Hospital and Conemaugh Hospital. Joe Biacconi from SCI Somerset has gone above and beyond to provide support for this family. Joe, thank you so much. Pastor Phil and Clem, thank you for what you've done. Wendy Bauer and the staff from the Correctional Peace Officers Foundation have been great. And of course, I have to say thanks to Major Scott Bellman, who has made this entire event possible today. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank every one of you who are public servants here today. You know, there are times we feel we don't make a difference. You do. Be strong and be united together. Thank you for all you do. God bless you. Please remember Mark as the man he truly was, a servant of God. I'd like to close in reading you a prayer. Lord, grant me the wisdom so I may treat those of your children that lay at my feet. Let my hands be gentle, sure, and swift to impart to them your sacred gift. Let me see only my patient's need, not their color, race, or creed. Let me always be my best, even when it's only on an hour's rest. Grant me the insight to understand why my patients are going to die, and let me remember that when they do, there is a wonderful life in heaven with you. This calling to give of myself most do not understand, but I stand ready all the time to help my fellow man. Of word of thanks I may not hear, but knowing is enough that I have helped just even one to go on to live and love. I don't do it for the money. We know how little I get paid. And I don't do it for the glory, but for the life that might be saved. Somewhere deep within our souls is crying out, we're here to help our neighbors in their hour of pain and doubt. Lord, in the time of duty, if I should fall, help my family to hold their heads tall. For it was you who decided that I should be one of your chosen, an EMT. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Phil, on behalf of Mark's family. When the news of the unprovoked and brutal assault on Sergeant Baserman reached Central Office, it was readily evident to me that Secretary Wetzel took this news very hard and very personally. He immediately invited our prayers and ordered every available resource to surround Mark's family and the SCI Somerset family. These have not been easy days for any one of us, let alone the Secretary of Corrections. Secretary, I have personally appreciated your helping us walk through this very, very difficult time.
Please join me in a moment of prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory to thee, God, glory to thee. O heavenly King, Comforter, the Spirit of truth, who art in all places and in all things, treasury of blessings and giver of life, come and abide in us. America has a sacred covenant with its guardians. Around this room, there are guardians of America. 3 weeks ago, that sacred covenant was broken. Without cause, without purpose. An inexcusable act. Our families loan us to the Commonwealth and to the country to protect them. That covenant is a two-way street. So to Sergeant Baserman's family, thank you for loaning your hero, our hero, to us. This job is thankless, but thank you. Thank him. To the first responders, Officer McDowell, staff at Somerset, the EMS folks, the folks at the hospital, thank you for your heroic acts. Winston Churchill, in the midst of the war, said that sometimes our best isn't good enough. Sometimes we must do what was required. You all did what was required. We're all saddened and shaken to our core that this tragedy occurred, that this hero died for no reason. But when I say no reason, I say that because it's causeless. But what he stood for is a life of service. Service to this country, service to his community, service to the Commonwealth. Every citizen in this Commonwealth benefited from this man's heroic service. We grieve deeply. Deeply. When someone gets put behind that wall, we forget about him. The citizens forget about him. But every day, our staff walks the toughest beat and does it in an honorable fashion. This honorable man shall forever be remembered. You know, one of the things about corrections that people don't understand is that we're forced and asked to deal with the worst that humanity has to offer. The worst side of humanity. And in response to that, we show America our best, and the best that America has to offer. So I would ask all of you and all of us that we can't allow this to end here. We're a family. And sometimes families fight. Sometimes families are angry at each other. But at the end of the day, we're a family. And when the chips are down, we pull together. And we can't leave here today without a firm commitment, first of all, to Sergeant Baserman's family, that whatever it takes, this is not an event that ends today. Our support, our commitment to them just begins today. And it continues throughout, whatever that means, by any means necessary. But our commitment to each other and our commitment to ourselves to take care of each other, we're always outnumbered. We're often forgotten. But what we do counts. And I would ask you to join me in the commitment to ensure that Sergeant Baserman's memory remains eternal. As Larry Blackwell said, rest well. Rest well. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. I'm going to invite Sergeant Missoura from the Pennsylvania State Police and the Touch of Brass to bless us with a song selected by the family.
For to his angels he's given
Before I invite you to join me in a prayer of dedication, I want to express on behalf of the Department of Corrections my deepest thanks to the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown for allowing us to use this venue and facilities at no charge. As an expression to Kathleen Clausen and to each person from this university who has felt it their privilege and their duty to embrace this hurting law enforcement community, we deeply thank you. As an expression of our thanks and gratitude to the university for your incredible act of kindness and love, a scholarship fund will be established in memory of Sergeant Baserman. Join me in prayer. Gracious and loving God, hear the cries of your people. Meet us in our deepest grief and hurt, in our feeling angry, our feeling vulnerable, our feeling afraid. Surround we, your children, with your loving and comforting presence, so that one day healing may come. And especially for those who serve as public servants in our prisons, on our highways, on our streets. Remind them that they do not walk alone, but that you are with them every step of the day. We leave this place holding the memory of Sergeant Baserman close to our hearts and united to keep his memory alive. May your peace be with us all. Amen. Would you please stand for the rifle volley and the playing of taps?
Uniform staff! Free staff! Out! Hey! Uniform staff! Order! Out!
Please be seated for the folding of the flag. At this time, the family will be presented with the American flag, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania flag, and the Emergency Services flag. Following the last call for EMT Baserman, SCI Somerset uniform staff will have opportunity to pass and review. At the direction of the lieutenants, others then, including those in the overflow areas, may pay their respects one final time.
Station 9, Technician Baserman. Station 9, Technician Baserman. Station 9, Technician Baserman, last call. All units be advised, there is no response. EMT Baserman was brutally assaulted on February 15th, 2018 at SCI Somerset and died in the line of duty as a corrections officer. He has answered his last call and has gone home. End of duty, February 26, 2018, 1200 hours. The staff of Station 9, East Hills Ambulance, is proud to have served with EMT Baserman. EMT Mark Baserman, thank you for your service. You have completed your mission here. You can begin your mission in heaven. May you rest in peace, my friend.
Let's go.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, thank you for all your help. It's been fun, huh? It's been something.